ability to parry is actually right here. So anyone, no matter how you're playing, can put 1 point there, and you got the ability to parry. Again, it rewards multi-classing. You're not confined to one thing. You can be all over the place. The companions have a few small choices that you can get as well, which is nice. Godlike, I'm not going to click on that because it's not a huge spoiler, but there is a little bit of one. But Godlike is like abilities you unlock during the story related to your past and what is happening to you through the main story quest line. So that's how you kind of design your character. So yeah, build diversity is awesome. I'm basically running around right now with a gun primarily and swapping to a shield when I need to parry things and get them out of my face, and using mana when I need to, and bullets in between using mana. Also your choices, yes, your choices that you make in the story, whether you realize it or not, affect what godlike abilities you're going to get. So there was a very early part in the story where I made a choice, and I just had my nose up in the air, and some people in chat were like, what? Why would you? I've never seen anybody do that. And I got a different ability than a lot of people in chat got when they played past that point. So your choices affect the game, and I love that because that gives the game replayability. Banter between party members. This is very high praise. These two talk in script to each other. These are homies. They've worked together before. They've gotten each other nearly killed in the past, and they constantly talk script to each other. And it reminds me a little bit of like Alistair from Dragon Age Origins. Now, not quite. Alistair's on a very high pedestal, but it reminds me of like him and some of the other party members talking crap to each other, and I love it. They are gems, and I love them, and they're fantastic. Good writing between the two of them when they're talking smack to each other. The story itself has been good so far. Again, I'm about 10 hours in. I've been doing a lot of side quests and a lot of wandering around. Like, there was one point where I was like going to a side quest and I got distracted by a lizard camp, and then I ended up in a spider cave and fighting the spiders, and I came out a rear exit of the cave and there was bears and I fought them, and then there were more lizards. Then there was a lizard camp that had tamed a bear, and then I was like, oh man, I've been going in the wrong direction for like an hour. And it rewards you for doing that. You'll find a lot of treasures in the open world. You'll get more materials you can use. If you have a weapon you like, but it's like a low-level version of the weapon, when you rest in your camp, you have a workbench, and you can go to the workbench and take all the random wood and metal and stuff that you have found while you've been out in the wilderness, and you can use it to upgrade your weapon's level. And so like this gun I'm using, because it's the one weapon I've kind of stuck with. My other weapon set I've been changing a lot, but this gun I've upgraded it 4 times. It started at the beginning, it was doing like what was it, like 20 or 30 damage, and now it's doing 123 because I've upgraded it like 3 times. And it's just branches and herbs and stuff like that or something. Additionally, you can salvage things. So if I mouse over this and hold the R key, it just became an iron chunk. So you can break loot you don't need. If you're like encumbered and you want to just make some space and get some materials, you can do that. It's like I'm never going to use the shield right here, so I'll break that, for example. So that's really good. The exploration of parkour. Exploration is pretty good in the game. So can I show an example of that? So like if I run over here and then I just kind of hop over this rock, jump up this, you can see you kind of pull yourself up, right? So there is a bit of parkour in the game where you can go up to things that are about up to your head, and you can just like pull yourself up. Like I can't climb up that. That's too rocky. I can't get up that. But you can parkour over a lot of things. It's pretty good. It's not too bad. There's a few points where like you might like get in a weird stuck thing and you kind of need to like jump to get unstuck. The party members' AI is pretty good too. Like if they're like on a ledge and an enemy's on a ledge, they're smart enough to hop down, run over, climb up, and then punch the enemy in the face. Their pathing is pretty good. One time in the last 10 hours, I saw this guy get stuck. And when I order him to use one of his abilities, if he's not in range of the enemy, if I'm like, you shoot that guy in the face, if he's not in range, he'll teleport within like 5 feet of the guy and then blast him in the face. And I use that to get him unstuck. Saw it once in a 10-hour period. So, and that's on the, full release version of the game. Okay. Do I have anything negative to say? All right, buckle up. Here we go. The mana system. The mana system in this game uses something called essence. Let me move my camera slightly. Okay, underneath my camera, there's a red bar. That's my health. The purple bar is essence. So if I do well, my essence went down. It does not regenerate. If you want it to regenerate, there's a few things you can do. You can consume a food that gives you essence. So I'm gonna do that. Now, that extra is not wasted. And it took me a while to understand this. You see right there? There is like a red buff for food and a purple buff further down for the essence. So any of the, you notice it filled up the essence and that buff is still there. It's kind of like a stockpile. So if I'm in combat or something and I use some essence, it will drain more of that food from my stomach to refill the bar. So you can eat like, 42 grapes and 3 avocados or something and have kind of a stockpile of health and mana. And then when you're in combat and you're getting wailed on, it will slowly pull from that food source to fill your bars back up. It's not like super fast. A health potion is faster. If you get in trouble, using a potion is faster. But it's also, potions are not instant, but they're quite fast. Also, I never said this, I'm playing on the maximum difficulty. It was called like Path of the Damned or something like that. And at the beginning, it was no joke. The very first, I forgot I had picked that difficulty because I was just being silly for my audience. And the very first enemy was like a cobalt-looking guy, like a little lizard man. And he two-shot me. And I went into that, you have one more chance mode. And I was like, oh, geez. I got to start parrying and dodging and stuff like that. And, it's been fun. You don't have to play it like that. But it's been fun for me because I have to take it seriously. And it keeps me, very focused on the game. But yeah, I'm 10 hours in on the highest difficulty as well. I should say that also. All right, so the mana system. This is not a bug. This is a design decision. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that I have to just eat tons of food or potions. Also, I should say when you kill an enemy, you get a very, very tiny amount of essence back. So if you kill a bunch of enemies without using essence, melee weapons, bow or gun, you will get a teeny little bit back. But I gotta kill like 5 to 6 enemies to do like one big spell. So it's not a huge amount. So I'm dealing with it. It's fine, but I definitely prefer a system where your mana like regenerates over time. I am hoping that I'll find some item later on, like a ring that gives mana regen, even if a very slow amount. I'm hoping to find something like that. I did find a ring that gives health regen. It's called like Coral Ring, and it gives health regen when you're wet. So anytime you see like a pool of water, you could just kind of stand in it for a minute and it'll recover any missing health if you want to do that. So I haven't found anything like that for mana though. I'm hoping to. All right, the next thing. This is me saying something quite negative. The leashing. The game has leashing. And if you don't know what that is, basically it means like a monster has a spawn point. And if you move the monster more than, I'm going to make up a number here, let's say 50 feet from its spawn point, it will turn around, it'll stop chasing you and start running back. Now, in some games, leashing, if you leash the monster, it immediately shoots to full health so that you can't abuse it. At the time of this recording, when you get a monster too far from its spawn point in this game, it does not immediately shoot to full health. It starts running back, and I think if it gets all the way back, it starts healing. So Noxie, I have a clip. I'll give you a clip for this. So there were times when, not that I was trying to, but I'd be fighting some really tough mob, and I'm kiting because again, I'm playing on the max difficulty, so everything's kind of bullet spongy. And I'm kiting around, and I'm shooting it, and I accidentally hit the leash spot. And then it starts like, oh, I'm going to leave. And then I take a step forward. It's like, I'm coming for you. And I take a step back. And it's like, oh, I'm going to leave. And I'm just like, oh, well, okay, this is easy. And I just keep kind of doing this and just blam, 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 blam. And I can kill literally anything like that. Now, you can just choose not to do that. I did it that one time because I was like, well, we're here at this point. But it is a thing. I would like to see the leashing completely removed from the game. Or make it... either they shoot to full health instantly, or it gives make the leash 4 times the size, make it absurd. But it's dumb. It feels weird when you hit that, and then they go brain dead, and then you can just do whatever you want to them. Okay, next thing I wrote down was the inventory screen. Okay, this is not terrible, but I don't really like it. Let's say I want to change this gun for something else. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna click on this spear, and shoot. Okay, what was there? I think this dagger was there. Okay, so I need to hit left alt or this to swap them. Then I click on something and I could change it, okay? So you cannot click and drag. And if you click on something, it instantly replaces your main set, okay? So that's the thing. You cannot click and drag or anything like that. It's fine. I don't love it. It makes it kind of weird. Like sometimes you want to like click on something to see the stats, and you're like, okay, what are the stats? Oh shoot, what was there? Okay, it was that, and you just have to get used to it. It's kind of odd. And so like, ring, if you want to put something in the main hand and then put something else in the left hand, you left click, right click. By the way, you can dual wield wands. You can dual wield sword and wand if you want, whatever. Things like that. So I don't love this interface. It's fine. It's serviceable. But it's one I'm not a fan of. So I wrote that down. Mobs getting stuck. Okay. I have seen people saying on like Twitter and stuff like that like, so many mobs in the game just stand there and let you kill them and they're stupid. I have seen this one time, and this might be the exact same bug that I mentioned where I said he got stuck one time. But there was one time that I was fighting an ogre. Noxie, I have a clip. Where I was fighting an ogre, big guy, very tough, could kill me in like 1 to 2 hits, and I'm locked in, doing my best to like dodge and avoid hits and keep pelting him with my little rubber bullets, and he got stuck. Now, maybe I could have walked into his melee range and gotten him to like unstick, or something like that. I wasn't gonna do that. He could kill me in 1 hit, so I was just standing at range, and I'm like, okay, with my little pea shooter until I eventually killed him. So there was one guy, I got stuck in a leashing loop where it was a little wandering boss, and he went stupid, and I killed him. And then there was an ogre that was kind of an early game mini boss that got stuck. He was just standing there. It wasn't a leash bug. And fortunately, again, I saw it once in 10 hours. Unfortunately, it was on a fight that was meant to be very challenging, so it was stupid. If it was just like a little spider getting stuck, it'd be like, okay, whatever, So I did see that once in a 10-hour period. Okay. You're pretty early game. Man, it's not important, not worry. Oh, I'm just being honest. And honestly, because I've seen people saying like, oh, this game looks really dumb because like all the mobs just stand there and let you kill them. And I'm saying, no, that's not true. I'm saying I saw that once. It's not all the mobs. I've seen it one time. Lockpicking. Noxie, I'll send you a clip. Lockpicking, there's no minigame. And lockpicks break every time you use them. I am going to find the blacksmith that forwards these lockpicks, and I am going to beat him over the head with a frying pan in Minecraft. So basically, like if you find a good lock, you have to, a good treasure chest, you just have to spend 3 lockpicks. So it's almost like they're a currency. Like when you pick up lockpicks and then you go to a chest, you spend lockpicks to open it. It's not bugged, it's not broken. I just think it's stupid. Okay, like this whole thing where mining picks and chopping axes and fishing poles and lockpicks break constantly in games is like, ugh. And in this game, they didn't even make a lockpicking minigame. They just completely skipped that. I just came from playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That had a lockpicking minigame. So did KCD1. So did every Elder Scrolls game, stuff like that. This one, there's not even a lockpicking minigame. It's just you walk up to a chest and you just shove lockpicks into it, and then it opens up. It'll just say, like, this requires 5 lockpicks to open. Fine. So I'm not a fan. That's it. I'm just not a fan of that. Game crash. One time in 10 hours, I had a game crash. It was funny because there was like a pop-up error said something about Alabama game. I don't know why. Someone in chat recommended me to turn off ray tracing. I can never notice ray tracing, so I was like, okay, sure. So I opened my game back up. I turned off ray tracing. I relaunched the game and played another, that was around the 6 or 7 hour mark. So it's been 3 to 4 hours since that happened. And I have not had it crash again since. I only saw it one time, turned off ray tracing, fingers crossed. Haven't seen it again. Jump and dodge. Okay, this is one of the biggest complaints I have about the game. Jump, dodge, and parkour are all the same key. Now, you can bind it to multiple buttons. I am used to having dodge in any game on the V key, and I hit it with my left thumb, because I got a big hand. Spacebar is for jump. The way it works is if you're moving forward and you hit space, it's a jump. If you are holding still, it's a jump. If you're moving left, it's a dodge. If you're moving right, it's a dodge. If you're moving back, it's a dodge. If you're facing a cliff or something you can climb on, it's parkour. Now, I don't mind parkour and jump being on the same button, but I sure as hell do not like dodge being on the same button. Because in combat, I have had times where I was getting beaten on, so my character is rapidly going from stunned to not, stunned, not stunned, stunned, not stunned, and I'm frantically hitting the dodge key trying to get away from the attacker, and I'm doing this. and then I die. It's not happened a bunch, but it has happened. And I really dislike that. Okay, that's probably one of my biggest. If I could change something about this game, it would be that. I wish that was not a thing. However, that is how it is right now. Cannot attack NPCs and change the story in that way unless it's scripted in. Okay, this is not necessarily a negative thing, but I put it here because for some people it could be a negative. All right, so what do I mean by that? Many people are saying, is this the new Skyrim? No, it's not. In Skyrim, in Morrowind, in Oblivion, you could go up to a critical quest NPC and you could kill them, and it'll be like, the threads of fate have been severed. You can keep playing in this doomed world if you want. That's up to you. And you could just keep going, you know? This does not have that. In fact, there was one point kind of early on in the game where, you know, this person, and I'm going to be very vague here because it's not my intention to spoil. A individual was like, hey, would you like power? And I'm like, and the options were like, yes, 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 or no. And I was like, no, I don't trust you. And they were like, what? I've only been nice to you. And I'm like, nah, this sounds too good to be true. And I just kept hitting no, 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 no. And I kind of expected a moment, if anyone who's ever played Baldur's Gate 3, the scene with the Githyanki Queen, where I offended this individual so much, I thought they were just going to kill me, and then it was going to roll credits, like a bad end. But it eventually kind of turned back around and railroaded you back on the tracks. And it's like, oh, okay. I kind of wish there had just been like a bad end there, but all right. It does have freedom of choice in some moments. There are decisions I've already made in the first 10 hours where certain characters died as consequences of my actions. And I think that is good. But at the same time, this is not the freedom of a single-player Elder Scrolls game. I am just saying that so you understand what you're getting into, right? You cannot just go up to, you know, just random guards and attack them or things like that. You can't. I mean, here, hold on. I really want to drive this point home here. So let's see this guy. He actually talked smack to me earlier. No effect, okay? Believe me, I've tried. No effect. On that note, no stealing. You can play a sneaky class. All right, there's a whole skill tree for it. And you can stealth, you can backstab, you can do like archery shots from stealth, and or even the gun. Obviously, the gun is loud and it will alert everyone that you're there. But that first shot, you can get a huge bonus to damage if you do it, you know, when they don't detect you, stuff like that. But there's not really stealing or pickpocketing or anything like that. Like, you go in town, anything highlighted you could pick up. There was one moment where there was like a dead guy in town and some guards around him, and like there's a bloody weapon there, and I walked up and picked up the weapon, and they're like, hey, that's evidence. And someone's like, oh, it's fine. And they're like, he's the envoy, he's important, we can't go against him. And they're like, I guess we could solve the murder without the weapon. And I was like, really? Like, you could pick up anything. And like, sometimes people will make like snarky comments on it, but they never stop you. There's never consequences to just picking up anything that's not, you know, glued down. It's fine. You know, there's tons of games that, you know, that are RPGs that don't have like stealing or anything like this. But this game feels so close to like, I can go into someone's house, talk to them. There's a treasure chest right next to them. It clearly belongs to them. I can spin 3 lock picks and just shove them into the lock until it opens and take all their belongings and leave. And they'll just be like, wow, rude. So, I mean, I feel like it's just odd. It's not game breaking, but basically, if you see something highlighted, go nuts. No one cares. Go cares. Go ahead. No one cares. All right. Let's talk about misconceptions. This is some stuff that I have seen. This is stuff I don't really care about, but I've seen people complain about it, and I want to, we're going to talk about it. It's a bullet point. All right. The game is woke. I don't agree with that so far. I'm 10 hours in. At the beginning, you can choose your pronouns. Do people say like he or she or whatever like that? That is fine. You know, if you're bothered by that, well, okay, find another game. But in this one, you know, I just said he because I'm a guy. I'm playing a guy. Boom. That's it. It was never really brought up again. No one came up. It wasn't like the blue lady from Dragon Age Veilguard that was running up and giving you unskippable quests about how she wants to be gendered or anything like that. It's nothing like that. It's just you pick your character, he or she, at the beginning, and that's it. It never really comes up again in the first 10 hours. No, I don't even know if this game has romance. I haven't looked into that. No. No men or women have tried to get with me in the first 10 hours. Maybe I've been playing completely wrong. No one's been flirting with me, anything like that in the first 10 hours. There's been no woke agenda stuff that I can really label as such. So that's it. I'm just saying what I've seen. I have seen a rumor that no one in town walks around and it looks like a dead city. Not true, or they changed it. Because when I was in town, there were NPCs talking to each other at merchant stands, and there were NPCs walking around. There were. I would say the town could use more NPCs. It does seem like the number of NPCs in the town could be increased a bit. Like, it doesn't match how big the city is. They could probably add some more. If you're a Guild Wars 2 player, think not quite as barren as Kanang, but like halfway there. So that is a rumor, or it is no longer true, and that's how it is. The last thing I wrote down was it's the new Skyrim. No, it's not. It is not. It is a very fun RPG based on my time so far. I'm having a lot of fun designing my character, swapping between skills, like, using my gun. Someone gets too close, I cast a magic shield on myself, pull out a physical shield, and use the two of those to survive massive blows while yelling at my, two teammates, hey, root this guy, get him off me, stuff like that. I'm having an absolute blast playing it. You cannot run around and kill every NPC. The entire world is not a giant open world map. There are loading screens between maps, but within those areas, they are very large and expansive. So for example, almost my entire 10 hours so far has been this area that's colored in. Now, this is the first map's almost done, so I'm sure there's going to be more maps, but my first almost 10 hours has just been this. Okay, so there was a couple of loading screens when I went into little dungeons, and I'm sure that there is going to be other maps after that. So it's not like that. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I think at that point I'm just kind of exhausted what I've had to say on that. But it's not the new Skyrim. I find it very fun. I find the writing solid, the combat enjoyable, the class design enjoyable. It's a game with a couple of bugs. I think $70 is a steep price tag. I would absolutely be fine paying $40 to $50 for this. However, it is free on Game Pass, and Game Pass is dirt freaking cheap. So if you are interested in this, hopefully I've helped answer your questions. If you were on the fence about getting it, maybe now you know enough that you can say, yes, I will, or no, I won't. And remember the Game Pass thing. I don't have a referral link or anything like that for this. I'm just doing like an early review. As always, I will do a full in-depth review when I finish the game over everything I have to say on that. And I will see you then.